Like two ships passing in the night. Yeah, we were nothing like that. What does that even mean anyway? How do two ships pass in the night? I suppose they could pass gliding by each other silently. Or maybe with horns a-blaring. Or maybe even by colliding. Imagine if you were with my family and I at the beach. Last summer, we were at Nags Head, North Carolina. And it was one of those weeks where it was just pouring down rain. Where you're looking out, it's like, is that the ocean out there? Just couldn't tell. Well, it was our day to leave, and we thought, you know, it's pouring rain anyway. Why don't we leave a little early? Beat the traffic out of there. Unfortunately, everybody else had the same idea. So there we were, sitting in traffic in Nags Head, North Carolina, with everybody on the island. So we thought, you know, we're not moving anyway. Why don't we stop in Roy Rogers and get breakfast there? Unfortunately, everybody had that idea also. So there we were, drenched, packed into a steamy Roy Rogers with everybody in Nags Head. Now, we've been in a situation like this in a long, slow line. The employees, few and far between to start out with, either didn't know what they were doing or they didn't care. Except, that is, for Jessica. Short, ponytailed. She seemed to be the only one in there who both knew what she was doing and cared about doing it. She was handing out the drink orders to all the customers. Now, unfortunately, us customers, we don't do real good at distinguishing between Jessicas and non-Jessicas. Like the guy in front of me in line, for example. She handed him his coffee. He grabbed it out of her hand and said, "It's about time." Now, I wish I could say I was a lot better. But honestly, I wanted to do the same thing. We were all frustrated, wanted to take it out on poor little Jessica. Well, I was next. Lucky her. She handed me my coffee and managed to work up a slight smile and said thank you. Suddenly, I was transported back to the book by Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. You know this book?
Oh, yeah.
In there, he tells a story about a turn-of-the-century aristocrat named Georgette in Vienna, Austria. Have to clarify these things. And Georgette had a servant girl named Marie. Well, I'll tell you what, let me read this. A servant girl brought Georgette her meals. They called her Marie the dishwasher. Cross-eyed, bandy-legged, poor in flesh and spirit. One day Georgette said to her, "Marie, you do not know what treasures are inside you." Marie waited a few moments, sighed, and said, "Madame, I would never have believed it." She ran out and repeated what Georgette had said, again and again. A few weeks later, she told Georgette, "I'm going to be a lady," and thanked her. A small phrase had changed her entire life. Suddenly, I saw standing before me Dale Carnegie. Dude! And he was saying to me, "Gary, Jessica is your Marie." Really? But he was right. So as Jessica handed me my drink order, I took it, thought a second, and said, "Jessica, thank you." And customers won't tell you this, but we really appreciate how hard you work. Jessica kind of looked at me blankly for a moment and said, "Thank you." And then she smiled and said, "Thank you." In fact, she couldn't stop thanking me. 10 minutes later, I had to go up and get a refill for my wife's coffee because somebody spilled it. Aaron's looking at me like, I know who it must have been.
The kid.
Yes, the kid.
The kid.
The kid. Jessica handed me the refill coffee, and she said, and I quote, "You don't know how much I appreciate what you said to me." Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You don't know how much I appreciate what you said to me. That day, I know that Jessica went out of there walking on air. And you know what? She's not the only one. So did I. Jessica and I that day, we could have chosen to be like two ships passing in the night. Either her mechanically dispensing coffee to all the customers, or me like Mr. Grumbly in line, give me that. But you know, we made the decision to not do that, to share a little bit of kindness between each other. And don't get me wrong, or don't miss this, it is a decision. And it's one that we make every single day. In fact, I bet you'll have to make this decision before you go to bed tonight. Which one will you choose? Well, why does this even matter? Well, I'll tell you, I will never know Jessica's last name, and she'll never know mine. But I can tell you one thing for sure. That day will live forever in the hearts of two people, Jessica from Nag's Head and Gary from Leesburg, because we decided not to just be two ships in the night. Dismissed, mister?